I want to talk to you about real estate closing dates, essential real estate dates. So I was listening to a talk between a bunch of lawyers today discussing landlord-tenant issues. And one of the things that they were explaining was it appears that the courts in New York are generally providing guidance that dates can be pushed back. Whatever dates those are, whether they're closing dates, contingency dates, move-in dates, like these things are all move-out dates. These things are all in a fluid situation because we have a shut down market and we're all quarantined at home. So I actually have clients who have had their fourth mortgage extension in the contract that they're in right now to buy a place on the Upper East Side. They have been waiting for the bank to get them their mortgage approval, and the bank just keeps dragging its feet because everything is moving slow now. So these are unusual times, and that is an unusual amount of extensions to be granted to buyers, but what other choice does the seller really have? So, but there's another kind of date that's more inflexible than any other dates that I'm aware of in real estate, which are dates for 1031 exchanges. What is a 1031 exchange? A 1031 exchange is where you basically it started in like the early 1900s. I don't know if you know this, and there was a situation or multiple situations where people wanted to swap properties. So you had like a farm. Somebody who owned a farm that wanted to swap with like a townhouse, like a commercial townhouse in the city, and they were like, well, our farm and our townhouse are worth the same amount, so why don't we just exchange them? And we won't exchange any money, we'll just trade the properties. And out of that was born the 1031 exchange. So the rule is basically that you own an investment property, and you're selling that investment property, and you're buying a like kind investment property. And it doesn't have to be like kind doesn't mean farm to farm. It means one investment property to another investment property. It means not buying a home or residential property that you're going to use as a residence. So the typical guidance is that you have 45 days to identify 3 target properties that you would like to buy once you've sold your place and your investment property, and then you have 180 days to close on that investment property, or you can buy multiple ones and sort of put them together, so to speak. So, and what the IRS did, I was reading a email from Scott Saunders in Asset Preservation Inc., and I'll just read it to you here. It says, therefore, pursuant to Notice 2020-23, if the end of a taxpayer's 45-day identification period or 180-day exchange period in a deferred exchange, or the parallel periods in a reverse exchange, which is another kind of exchange, under Revenue Procedure 2000-37 falls between April 1st and July 15th, the applicable period is automatically extended to July 15th, 2020, unless a taxpayer chooses to opt out of the extension. So basically, while I am not an accountant, I do have some familiarity with 1031 exchanges being in real estate. I actually have somebody who's asking me to sell their condo and help them identify a 1031 exchange property for them, which I've been sort of aiming them at some multifamilies in Brooklyn in the $1.5 million mark. And it's basically just pushing those deadlines. So they're no longer, it's like, if you were supposed to close on something in April, you now have until July 15th. And that said, if you have any interest or you're in the middle of a 1031 exchange, obviously I hope you're talking to an accountant or a lawyer about how to handle this stuff, and or a tax guy. But also I think that, there's a very good chance these dates could get pushed back as well. We've got to see how we're doing come July. The markets have to be up and running. We have to be able to be allowed to run around, show properties, and do closings in reasonable amounts of times in order for this stuff to happen. So that's it. I think that's a little description of how the current coronavirus situation has been affecting dates, particularly with 1031s. They just got pushed back. So if you were worried about it, you're breathing a sigh of relief right now. If you were thinking about a 1031 exchange, like the guy that I'm talking to, then we'll see when we get back running and are able to sell the investment properties, and then identifying target properties, etc., will be next. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay distanced, and I'll talk to you later.